Lights, cameras, action. Now let's engage in the dialogue. Let me browse through your mind like a catalog. Conscious metaphysics, allow me to break down the specifics. Educate, motivate. If you don't feel free, you can liberate. An LLC is what I'm building, the #1 podcast in the building. So let me slide on up in the Bentley truck in my Versace shirts. They can't get enough of this deep conversation, expansion, elevation. I'll send you a link you can tap in. It ain't quite what I used to do back then. Now I get it on the front and the back end. Multiple money streams keep coming in. Enlightened, empower, evolve. Enlightened, empower, evolve.
Just in time. Greetings, everyone. I'm Luke Bryan Smith, and welcome to Enlightened, Empowered, Evolved. I know everyone's doing well, and everything is unfolding perfectly. I'm excited yet again because I have another amazing guest, another repeating amazing guest. This is her second time here. Like I said before, she's a 30-year meditator, healer, businesswoman that has overcome strong health issues and healed herself and a whole lot more. And before I even say her name, I want to say after this segment, make sure you check out the first segment that she was in entitled Everything is Always Unfolding Perfectly. Okay, So check that out. Without further ado, I introduce to you once again, Elizabeth Love. Yay! How are you doing today, Elizabeth?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Yes. So, like I was discussing with you prior to us going on camera, that let's talk about a little bit about some of your things. Matter of fact, let's talk about that health issue a little bit and how you overcame. Like you said, and I agree with you, that would be a great testimony.
So, previously you were asking me about my spiritual path.
Right.
So, I believe everything happens for a reason. And at some point in my life, I got very sick. By the way, one of the things we learn in the healing practices is that 99% of the sickness is emotional. 99%.
Wow.
Yes. Even I have met doctors that say, for example, cancer, it's mainly due to negative emotions,
Right.
hating, sadness, some type of
Anger.
anger, things going on inside. But everything, 99% is emotional. If not, it's something spiritual. It could be something in the karma.
Right.
But what happened to me is I believe I had a karmatic marriage. In my spiritual practice, I'm a Mahikari healer. What is Mahikari? Mahikari is the Japanese art of healing with divine light. So I have learned in this practice that sometimes our marriage can be karmatic. If you have a good marriage, it means you have done good. And if you have a bad marriage, something was wrong, maybe in a past life, who knows? And another thing I have learned is that usually in our DNA, we carry our ancestors good karma or bad karma, and sometimes we're repeating stories of our great grandfathers or great grandmother, and I find out I was repeating some things as well.
Right.
So, I got very sick in 2008 when I had my second child. I didn't know what was going on with me. I only felt I was dying.
Right.
I went to the doctor, and the doctor, my mom went with me, and he told my mom that it was just my imagination. I didn't have anything, that everything was fine. So doctors weren't doing anything for me. And like I said, I've been a meditator for more than 30 years. And back
Right.
then it was about 20 years that I have been meditating. So
Mm.
like I tell you, I have my gurus, I have my tribe, my spiritual tribe.
Right.
And I call my best friend, or my Buddha, or my spiritual teacher, or whatever name, we want to give him. And I say, I don't feel well. I think I feel like I'm dying. And I went to the doctors. Doctors don't know what it is. Um, and I even see a spirit around me, like,
Hmm. Wow.
you know. And my yoga teacher told me about a retreat in New Mexico. And I told my friend, could you take me? Because I don't know what else can I do. Can you take me to this retreat?
Right.
So he says, sure, I can take you. We go to New Mexico. I could not eat anything because I was scared of eating, because I thought anything that I would put in my body would uh, do bad to me.
Contribute to your illness.
So what I was feeling, everything was, I was dizzy, very dizzy completely. I had a lot of pain in all this area. I had extreme, very sensitive, like if people would talk or anything, I could not take it. It was too much for me. My whole body was paralyzed. I had like, not paralyzed, numb. So
No.
imagine you get a hand numb, but imagine to have your whole body numb. I
Right.
could not hold my knees as well. Like I had to walk like that.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. You couldn't bend your knees. Wow.
no, no, it was bad. So doctors weren't doing anything. I had no solution. So I'm like, what can I do? Only some spiritual practice. So I go to New Mexico with my friend, with the yogis. So I will eat or peel grapes and eat the peel grapes, and that was it. And I started practicing a little bit of yoga and this and that, until my friend says, you know what, it's enough. I'm gonna take you with my mother. I said, with your mother? Yeah, she's gonna heal you. So from New Mexico we go to Sedona, in Arizona. And I arrived to her house. She's an enlightened master, meditation master.
Right.
Right to her house. I was very sick, and by the way, the whole journey was very spiritual. Like a lot of things happened in my way. For example, I was driving a Land Rover. My Land Rover broke down in the middle of the desert,
Hmm.
and we called the police. There was no cars, and the only thing I did is got out of my truck, meditated for about 10-15 minutes, and the truck started working again. So I made it to my journey.
Right.
When I came back home, I realized it was the motor. When I came back home, that truck didn't work anymore. It was the motor. So something, some energy through meditation made my truck work in the
Work.
way in the
Yes.
way to my journey. So that's one of the miracles that happened in that journey. So when I arrived to my guru's house, I don't know exactly what she did to me. Um, I just lay down when she did the therapy. I closed my eyes. I don't know what she did to me. So
Right.
I will spend the time with her, a few days, whatever. After whatever therapy she did to me, year by year, I started getting better. And I was always having communication with her. And she would do healing in the distance. She will always be doing this healing. So, but still, I needed to find out. And one day I go see my acupuncture therapist, and she's like, this therapist, she had the best connections with the best doctors in Mexico, because she was an old lady. She was a nurse, a 70-year-old nurse.
Right.
So she would do her therapist, will have say scientific um, background. So it wouldn't just be like, oh, I'm just doing energy healing with no, but no, she would do science. But in that time she was doing acupuncture. She checked my eyes and she says, you are not okay. So she sent me to another doctor, a DNA doctor in um, Guanajuato, Mexico. So
Right.
he's a Japanese scientist that got married with a Mexican, and then he came to live in Mexico. So he's a scientist first. Then he finished studying medicine in Mexico. So he has different specialties, but one of them is DNA. So he checked my DNA, and he's the only one that find out what I had. And when he was checking me, he suddenly, because he's a spiritual too, he looks up and he says, why are you doing this to me? And I'm like, why is the doctor talking by himself? And I said, okay, so what's going on? And he says, you are the most sick person that has come and visit me. You have an illness that one in a million have it. And I'm
Wow.
like, what it is? And he's like, I'm gonna explain to you in the most simple way. And I was starting to get in shock. Imagine that they're telling you are very sick and you are the worst. And I see old people sitting outside to see him, and he's still telling me that I'm the most sick person. And he says, I don't even know if I can help you. And I'm like,
Wow.
so if I'm so sick, what am I doing here? So what he tells me is that it's a disconnection from my brain with my organs. So when my brain sends the signal to my organs don't get the signal. They act very slow, or whenever they want to act. So I was in complete shock when he told me this. I'm like, how am I alive? And he says, I have no idea. How
Wow.
are you? Only God knows. So I sit in the chair and I'm just thinking, what he's telling me. The only explanation I get in that moment is that I've been meditating for 20 years. So after whatever he told me, he did some kind of therapy and on me, whatever his science knows what to do. And he tried to help me, and whatever he did helped me a little bit. But then I came back home and I started doing some research, and even you can read on Dr. Deepak Chopra, and he says that when we meditate, there's this energy that comes down through our chakras. Do you know what chakras are? I guess
Right. Right. Yes.
they come through our chakras. So every chakra is connected to different organs in our body.
Okay.
So when we're meditating, this healing energy comes and it starts healing our organs. So that's the only explanation I have to say that I'm still alive. And that was in 2008. We are in 2024.
Right.
And actually, this is a disease that I was born with, because what the doctor was explaining me, he saying it was a problem with my chromosomes were formed or whatever. I only remember that every time I would hold something in my hand when I was a child, I would drop it without me wanting to drop things. And I never knew why, because my childhood was normal. Only my problem started when I had my kids. When I got pregnant of my kids is when I realized, because they were taking all my nutrients and they were making my body work extra. So it's
Mhm.
when it went out of whack, and it became so difficult to the point that I was dying already. But like I said, from when I went to Arizona and I received that energy healing, years have passed. So I've been meditating my whole life, and then I became a Mahikari healer, which is um, a form of healing directly with energy.
Right.
So after I started receiving the Mahikari healing, my health just got better and better and better and better. And one thing that the Mahikari does, it erases karma from 3 generations back and 3 generations forward. So as after I started practicing Mahikari more and more and more, my life just gets better and better and better, and even my health.
Wow. That is an amazing story and of just emotional. It's sad at one point, and but then it transcends into happiness because you're healed now, correct?
Correct. Mhm.
And that is, like you said, that is so shocking that I've never heard of anything like that, and you hadn't either. And for you to be able to, I don't know what I would do, if I was told something like that. But the fact that you still did never gave up and continued to move forward and just knew that there was something that you were doing, something within you, something you had connected to that was helping you. That was, yes. And so, what I would like to ask you is anything that someone's going through physically or that they don't understand why, and doctors can't help them, what would you
Mhm.
recommend them do? I mean, you kind of said it already, but I just want to go over it again. What would you recommend them do? I mean, take us to a couple of steps that you think they should do. The meditating,
Definitely, definitely to look into themselves. They need to see what hurts, and why, what happened, and start releasing it. So uh, basically, we have all gone through things in life, you know.
right,
Like, for example, that experience, I guess somehow life, God, or whatever you want to call it, prepare me through live through that and make it, because
right,
like I said, I was meditating 20 years before. So I started meditating when I was 19. I was 28 at the moment. So I had started doing yoga, I had started meditation, I had a little bit of spiritual knowledge already. So when they tell me this, yes, I was in shock. Obviously, I was in shock,
right,
but I knew better. I knew there's something higher than us, something very powerful that is always protecting us. And I had many other experiences, like I had near-death experiences. I know what's in the other side.
right.
Death doesn't exist. Death doesn't exist. Our soul is eternal, but we have to find blissfulness. We have to find happiness. If we are thinking we gotta wait until go to another dimension or we passed away to, go to heaven. No, no, no. Heaven is here and now, because when we actually leave the body, we're gonna be asked, what did you do with your life? Did you enjoy your life? I gave you your life is precious. Your life is beautiful. What did you do? Did you wasted it being angry, being upset? You know, you worry only about money that you're not gonna take with you when you die. I mean, I'm not saying money is not good. Yes, it's fantastic because we need it. We live in this dimension. It's a material dimension, but there's more than that. There's more than
Absolutely. Absolutely. totally resonate and agree with you. Yes, go ahead. I just had to say that.
The first thing is how meditation helps. When you actually learn to meditate, you learn to observe yourself. You learn to observe what's happening within yourself. A lot of people say, oh, meditation is so hard because they think it's only about to stop your thoughts. That's impossible.
Right.
We are always going to have thoughts. That's something God gave us to use, the mind, so we can create beautiful things. We can manifest things.
Right.
So we don't supposed to have any conflict with the mind. We're supposed to only control our mind and use it in our favor. And that's one of the biggest issues we have in our society. We are completely lost. People don't know how to utilize the tools that God gave us in the best way. And
Mm.
one of the so first thing is observe what's happening with your mind. What are your thoughts? Are you having positive or negative thoughts? What is your frequency? Because actually the whole life it's frequencies. Humans we are uh materia with energy combined together. So actually when the soul leaves the body, why is the body not moving or looks dead? Because there's no more energy. Our soul is our energy, and every soul has a frequency. We have different frequencies.
Right.
So we start meditating, we can observe our frequency. How are we feeling? Obviously, we are sad, if we're depressed, if we are angry. We are in a very low frequency.
Mm.
So as we meditate, we can observe and we can actually take control of our thoughts. We can learn how to use our thoughts and switch it and start becoming positive. When you
Right.
catch yourself being angry, why am I angry? Why am I feeling like this? Let me change it. We can change everything
Yes.
that
Yes.
we feel. People think we don't have the power to change how we feel. We do. And sometimes it can be chemical imbalances. Nowadays, doctors, psychiatrists are taking advantage of people because all they do is give you the pill. They don't go to the roots. If you are having an emotional issue, if you are depressed, it doesn't mean that giving you a drug is gonna heal you. It's something deeper than that. So
Yes.
every human is responsible for their own health. And what humans do, they go and give the responsibility to the doctor. I went to the doctor, he only gave me a pill, but I still feel horrible.
Right.
And you don't do anything because you already went to the doctor and the doctor can do nothing more for you. That's it. Just the pill.
Just give
So
you a
what
band-aid to tolerate
exactly
it. A band-aid to tolerate it, not to heal it. Right.
correct. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna stay like that? Or
Right.
you're gonna do something about it, which is to do your spiritual work, your
Right.
inner work.
Your inner work.
People run away from their inner work. Why? Because it's painful. It hurts.
It
It
is.
hurts to
It is
go
hard.
back and see what happened in your childhood. It hurts to see that maybe my parents were unconscious and they didn't know how to love me. It hurts, so many things. Nowadays, people grow up without love, or who knows, so many problems in this earth. And people don't want to see that. But we have to. We have to go and heal and release and understand. For example, a lot of people blame their parents. No, my parents did this to me. Okay, but what did your father or your mother went through? They are human as well. They also suffer. Doesn't mean they wanted to hurt you. Who knows, right?
Right.
So
Right. There's
it's
always,
always
like you said, a root cause for something. And oftentimes we don't, especially in that particular circumstance that you mentioned, when we blame parents, like you said, they went through something and they didn't know how to love right. They didn't know how to think right. So, you have to understand that. And we have to get to a point where we say, okay, no matter what happened to us, let's not continue to reciprocate that same. Let's heal ourselves so that we can stop it here, and
Correct.
when you're conscious enough to realize that, then you can stop that generational damage that you continue to do, yes, to one generation to the next because they didn't know. Now we're in the I am thankful that people like you and I are aware to start working on ourselves, looking at ourselves so that we can identify why these things are happening, why, and eradicate it, shine a light on it and work on healing it, fixing it. Like you said, it's not easy. Doing inner work, changing, training yourself,
This sickness,
eradicating things, it's not easy.
this sickness became a spiritual journey for me because when my body didn't want to function anymore, I had to go and find out. Like, I had no more options, no more doctors, nobody, no relatives who understand what was happening to me. No doctors were doing their job correctly. So the only option I had was spirituality. I went to my yoga retreat. From my yoga retreat, I went to see my guru, which she did spiritual healing, and I started doing therapies, even on distance, because um, healing sometimes works in the distance too.
Right.
So we need to start thinking in terms of frequencies and energy, because nowadays there are scientists that discover that they can heal the cancer or anything just with frequencies.
Yes,
So
because that's what we are. Yes, that's why they've done studies even within science of how different frequencies, the effects on water, the effects on different matter that they look under a microscope, the effects on plants, and their science is just now starting to catch up with those spiritual knowledge that was already
and
evident
imagine
a long
if
time
they
ago.
say that we're 70% water in our
Right.
body.
Right.
And they have done these studies. If you are speaking to water, ugly things, the water gets ugly,
Gets
sick.
ugly.
Uh-huh.
Right.
So imagine between humans, the power of the words. If the people that we have around, they start treating us ugly, speaking ugly to us, what's gonna happen?
The
We're
effects. Absolutely.
dying little by little. So
Or, oh, go ahead. Sorry. Finish your thought.
it's very important that we become conscious. That's another thing that meditation helps us. It helps us to be conscious of what we're speaking, what we're doing, what we allow to come to our field, frequency field. We need to live aware.
Yes.
We need to be mindful.
Amazing.
Mhm.
And that's
What
exactly what
is-
I was going to highlight is not only, like you said, the people around us, that how they speak to us, but how we speak to ourselves. We can affect ourselves too. Like, the water that's in us by thinking and speaking certain
Mhm.
ways. But yes, I just want to thank you for coming on again, Elizabeth, and for just I enjoyed sitting here and listening to you just flow. That's what I call it, just flow, and just giving your testimony, giving your insight in the wisdom that you've gained in regard to self-healing, in regard to correcting thinking and looking within. It's just so many jewels that you dropped on us today, and I appreciate it. And again,
I think
yes, I look forward to having you back again. So thank
I
you very much, and I
I
appreciate you.
hope A lot of people. I hope people really think about everything I said and they look for solutions and they look a spiritual guide. And Mahikari is one of the best things I have found, and they're everywhere. The Mahikari healers. They can just Google it, they can find it, and it's free. We do, I'm a Mahikari feel. We do free service.
Wow.
Mhm.
Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for watching and or listening. Be sure to hit the like, subscribe button, comment, ask questions. And again, you can connect with Elizabeth Love on Facebook. Just look up Elizabeth Love. Yes, and ask her some questions, even
Thank you.
about what she talked about today, how to connect with these different healing modalities and whatnot. But thank you everyone for watching. Check out the website 333empower.com. Also, if you think that you would be an amazing guest for this podcast, send an email to 333empower@gmail.com. See
Awesome.
you soon. Thank you. Love and appreciation to everyone.
Bye.